All right, so welcome everyone. Today I'm going to take you through how to write a documentation for this Pomodoro timer. I'm just going to show you the exact process. So let me try to open with the live server. So this is the Pomodoro timer, and it's basically a time management software or productivity tool that can help you manage your time efficiently based on 25-minute work hour and work minutes, and then 5 minutes break alongside. So you can start that timer. Once you start, you can start doing your work. It will stop. You take a break for 5 minutes. You can even stop it or reset it. So if you want to know how to build this timer, let me know. But for now, I'm going to create a documentation for it. So from here, you can see that we already have our Pomodoro timer. So I'm going to be using Hashnode as my go-to writing. So I'll just go and I'll log into Hashnode. So when I log into Hashnode, I'll just click on write. Then my article title will be how to create a simple Pomodoro timer tool. So normally I start by my workflow is like putting together the heading. So here I'll have my introduction here. Then I'll maybe just put step 1, set up your project. Then step 2, say set up your HTML structure. Then step 3 is basically to style using CSS. Step 4, that will be the JavaScript, that is the functionality. JavaScript. Okay. And then after this, we can test it. It is project overview. And outcome. All right, so now we have all our documentation, and then maybe you can add a conclusion here, final thoughts, which I'll put here. So for this final, this is now all my headings. These are going to be my headings, all of these. Let me just put them as H2s. All right, so setting up your project here, I'll just describe how to set up the folder structure. So when I go here, you can see the folder structure is there is a timer, there is index.html, there's script.js, and there is styles.css. So this is what we are going to explain. So I'll go back and then I'll say create a new folder for your project, and inside it create three files, which are, the first one is index.html, excuse me, styles.css, and then the last one, which is going to be script.js. Then after, open the folder in your code editor. In this case, I'm using VS Code. I'll be using VS Code as you've already seen. So now this is just the basic way you can set up your project. So you can go further and explain, but I think this is quite understandable for someone who is just trying this out, yeah? So, and then we are going to set up our HTML structure. So the HTML structure is basically this. So when I set up my HTML structure, we all know that, okay, this is you press Control, you press Shift plus exclamation mark. So this is what I will do. I'll explain in the index.html. Create an HTML structure. Pressing sorry this is stopping here. So let's repeat this .html. I don't know why the formatting is disturbing, so I'll just restart again. In the index.html, and then we shall do this. Create, and then here I'm gonna put this. Yeah, that works perfectly. By pressing Shift exclamation mark, and when you do that, so that point we are going to, let's first comment on this. When you press shift exclamation mark, this is what is going to happen. It's going to create for you this doc type, and then with the title, which is document. So you can come here and you will have something like this. So I will type slash, then I write code, and then here will be a block of code, and then I'll choose HTML here for Hashnode. Where is HTML? Okay, it's right down here. Sorry. It's here. So I'll paste my block of code there. Remember, it doesn't come with this, so it's just what we are going to have. And then in the next step, we can explain that we need to change the title or project title. Then we need to link our styles.css, so which I can just put here. As a comment. Link your CSS. Let me write the comment directly from here. So link your CSS file. Then also here, link your JavaScript file. So I'll explain that step here right below. I'll press enter. Change the document title to your project name, which is Pomodoro Timer Tool. So I can put this into quotation. Link your CSS file below the title by adding this code. Here is link. So what we are going to do is we are going to remove this line. Since we are making a step-by-step guide, so I'll add this here and I'll write code. And also I'll say link your JavaScript within the body. Link your JavaScript file within the body. This is your external JavaScript file within the body. So from there we shall also add the code block, which is that. So after that, this is HTML structure. We are still in HTML structure. And then from here, we shall just say create your, let me go back here. So this is a div class. So I'll do this and uncomment it. So I'll say create a container, which will contain the timer button, the display, the heading, everything. So this is what I'll do. In your HTML file containing the heading and the different controls, those are the buttons. So I'll put that piece of code here. Right. So I'll put that piece of code here. Now you can go ahead at this step and also explain. This is how the code will look for this step. So be sure that your punctuation is great. So from here, and then I'll just put the code, and then I'll add the entire block of code here for the entire steps we have explained. So I'll just put it all there. Now I hope this makes sense for you guys. Now our next step is basically just going to be the styling using CSS. So I'll say open your CSS file. And style classes. So this part you can go ahead and explain each of these classes. They're actually IDs. So I am using ID here. What I'm going to do, you can explain the timer display. Timer display. This is where the timer will be displayed, the start btn. So let's do that, I think, before even going to style each of them. So I'll just do this. Say timer display ID will show the display of the timer, where it's going to display from. Then the start btn. This is the ID for the start timer button. And then we have the stop btn. This is the ID to stop the button. Then lastly, the reset button, which is basically to reset the button. Button, okay, when an action is applied to it. All right, so at this point, we are going to now head over to the styling. So this, we can make it this. Hi cousin, thanks for passing by. How are you doing? Just writing some of the things here. All right. So we are using IDs here in the CSS. Open your CSS file and style the HTML elements. So you're styling elements, right? So now when I go to my CSS file, so I'm just going to go to the CSS file here. Basically, we are styling the body first. So let's style the body first. We already have it there. So I'll do code, and I paste it. But now this is CSS. The CSS. So we can explain this. The font family is going to be that. The display is going to be flex. Justify content, it's center, and then that. Oh, you're from a wedding. Ha, that's good to hear. Whose wedding? How was it? Did you eat food? In Africa, we have to eat food in every wedding. Sometimes people will just go to weddings just for the sake of eating. I hope that it was a great wedding. Okay. So you can explain this and say this particular line, this will set font family, display, and set content to center of the web page. That is justify content. And then underline items center. And then the height and the background color will be set to that color, the specified values. So that's what I'll say. Specified values. So after that, we are going to add another block, which is styling the timer container and the timer display. So we are going to style all this at once. So let me just copy this piece of code. I think that is all from our CSS. So I'll copy it. And then here, I'll just say, write the rest of the styles for the classes and IDs. Oh, your best friend got married. Oh, that's good. Congratulations. Congratulations for her. I wish them the best in their marriage and everything. So the contribution guide was really a basic video, which I even made in a rush. I think I should make a better version of it, which is more detailed. But I'm glad to hear that you found it helpful. So I'll definitely work on that. Yeah. So the rest of the styles for classes and ID. So I'll just do here code, and I'll put the code there. So now this timer container is styling HTML elements. Let me specify here element styles, not cement. This is element for the classes and ID in our HTML file. Right. So now this is our timer container and all the other display button. At this point, we are just going to have something looking like this without the functionality. So from this point, you can take a screenshot. I used to take a screenshot. There is this Chrome extension called Skrillly. So I'll just click on it and then it will take a screenshot of this page. So let's wait for it to save. So this is the screenshot of the page. So I'll just click here to download. It's downloaded here. So I'll come back to my document and then I'll specify this is how the web page will appear after adding your CSS code. And then I'll add the screenshot. To upload an image, we just do slash and then type image on Hashnode, then click on it, upload image, and then I'll just choose that image. I can rename it here. I'm just going to rename the thing to Pomodoro timer. Then I'll choose this and then open. So this will make sure that someone who's following along, they have an idea of what they are getting. So this is what it will look like. And then lastly, now we have to add the functionality for our Pomodoro timer, which is basically the script.js. In the script.js, we are going to divide this into some parts. So we are going to here, let me just write a comment here. And I call like create variables to get elements. These are get elements. Then after we are going to create a function to display all this. Then after we are going to create a function to start the timer. Then we shall create the function to stop the timer and then reset the timer. Then do the function calls here. So basically those are the steps, but we have to explain it to someone to understand it. So I will just go back and copy this. Sometimes basic is essential. Okay. Yeah. It was like so basic that I don't know how I thought about it, but I hope it helps someone up there to contribute to open source and also write their contribution guide. Because personally, contributing to open source, sometimes like I just don't understand the contribution guides and then just give up on the project because it's just so hard to understand, okay, where do I start from? I hope maybe it helps someone surely. So, okay. Right, so where were we in the functionality of the JavaScript? So let's say go to the JavaScript file and create variables, fetch IDs from your HTML file. Remember the IDs we created? So I'll put that piece of code there, but this is now a JavaScript code. So I'll change this to JS. Thank you so much, cousin. It was great hanging up with you. Oh, it's just early morning over here, so it's okay. Take a rest and have a good night. We catch up later, surely. Thank you so much for coming. So the elements is we are getting this timer display. This timer display, let me just show you real quick, is this ID, which has the word 25 minutes, and then this start, the stop, reset. So that's what we are doing. So now we have gotten the elements, then we are going to add this chunk of code as well, because we say let timer get null and then the time be 25 times. This is basically 60 seconds. 60 seconds. So I'll specify that as well just below here. Now after that, the next step is basically to create a function to update our time display. Function. I feel like I'm rushing to write this, but anyway, let me first put the code here. Sorry. So we are going to do, this is a mathematical object which is going to give a mathematical functionality for us to have the time to be like 60 seconds, which is a minute, then the time, which is that. So we need to figure out a way to explain that to someone who basically doesn't understand. Thank you so much for joining. All right, so let's create a function to update the time display and math object functionality. So after this step, we shall do another step, which is create a function to start the timer. Then we set the interval over here. Timer. So let me do this. A function to start the timer. And set the interval to 25 minutes. So remember, when you're documenting something, it has to be brief. It has to be brief and easy to understand. And then the next step is to create a function to stop the timer and then a function to restart the timer. So this is another chunk of explanation. Then after this, create a function to reset the timer. So this, we are going to do this. We are going to do this, copy it, and then add that piece of code there. Then finally, we add event listener. And click for all these buttons. So I'll do this and then I'll add that piece of code there. So that is start btn, add event listener, click, and then it will get the function which is start the timer. But this function we created, start timer here. Then same for the stop timer. An event listener on click. All these buttons, yeah. Then window on load, update display. So this is the project, the outcome. The outcome is when you start, the timer will start counting, and when you stop, it will stop. Then when you reset, it will go back to 25 minutes. So that is it. Now at this point, you can now record a brief video, but since now I already have a video for this particular one, I can just come here in the overview section here, just say the final project will have a 25-minute timer and will stop after clicking the stop button. and reset on clicking the reset button. Since I have a video tutorial for it, I can just say also here this time, watch video tutorial. Then here I'll link the video tutorial by just clicking on slash and then go to media, and then media I can embed a link. So from here I'll go get the YouTube link for that video. So I'll go to YouTube and I'll have to look for that video. So I'll go to that channel, go to videos, and this is the video. So I'll just click on it. I'll click on share. It's a bit slow, come on. So I'll copy the link. I'll come to my document, then paste the video link there and then click on insert embed. And this video will be embedded in the article that we are trying to write. And then final thoughts, this one you can just say, this is an ideal project to practice your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript skills, especially if you are a total beginner. Try this out and modify it in your favorite ways. Then I normally end each of my articles by saying happy coding for whoever reads my article. Okay, Grammarly, if you're writing, Grammarly is going to be your best friend. So here I'll go back to my article. You can see now I need to create an introduction, and maybe I'll just say something small. Okay, so I'll just say in this guide, let's build a simple Pomodoro timer tool. This project is ideal for you to practice HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is Let's Pomodoro. Right. So this is just the basic how-to guide. So now I need to create a cover image. So I normally use Canva to create cover image. So I'll just copy this. Then I'll go to Canva, home Canva, and then I have my Hashnode cover templates that I use here. I will just choose one, just replace this, change the heading, Pomodoro timer tool, and then I'll go to elements, And then I will just search for timer and look for free graphics timer. Okay, this would work perfectly. This. So let's work with this. I will increase it 120. And then I'll go to styles and maybe change the layout a little bit, the colors. Okay, I'll go with that. So I'll go to share, download, then I'll choose the current page because I just want that one PNG. I'll choose the page, which is, then click on download. And then I'll go back here and then I'll add my cover image. Click on upload image. And then that's our cover image. So now we have our cover image and this is our article. Make sure you go through each and every step, write and edit, punctuate. This purpose was just to show you how you can document. You can see Grammarly suggesting some changes and just basically go through it and then make revisions as required. So font family, I'll do this and then I'll do this. Set the font family to the center of the web page, whatsoever. So go through it, proofread it, check throughout and all that. And then this is your final goal. You want to make sure that when someone follows this project, they are able to come out with exactly what you've been talking about. So test your code. As you can see, I have tested mine and it's working exactly the same as expected. So now after this, we can now click the publish button. So I'll click on publish and you can see it's 4 minutes to read. You can generate a table of contents. That's the slug. So select tags. It just says JavaScript project. Let me see, Pomodoro, timer, HTML, CSS. Then from there, I'll add it to series. If you have series, this should be among JavaScript projects on Hashnode. And then since I publish one article a day, I'm going to schedule this article. You can see I have some articles scheduled here. So the last one was scheduled for, let me see, for 5th June. So I'm going to schedule this for 6th June. So check out on 6th June and you should be able to see this article live that we have written. And I hope that you start your writing journey and I'm excited to go through that journey. So guys, I'll just click on schedule, which is down here. Then your draft was scheduled and it will be published on 6th of June. So be sure that you go through this article on 6th of June. Make sure that you try out the project. Let me know how it goes. Otherwise, I can see when I refresh, I should be able to see this in my drafts, which is right here. See you again another time. Be sure you let me know what else you would like to learn in the live sessions. and it's been great catching up with everyone today.